This class that I'm teaching right now is the first class where every single student was born after 9/11 happened. And so if you're not even born during a time when this happened, it's hard to look back and go, oh yeah, I was alive during that event or whatever, even if you were a small child. But you guys, aren't even born yet, and that's difficult to get a grasp on something that happened before, your time.
Maybe we've moved on to other things, and it seems like that's the past. We haven't had anything occur like that recently. I think that's just, it's just kind of common human nature to sort of forget things.
There was so many vivid things for me and for my comrades that I'm not sure why it would fade away. It was something that was definitely big, and it escalated into different things. There were many battles that escalated out of that situation, so I'm not sure why it would fade away. It's kind of bizarre to me to hear that it is fading away.
There was reports of these, at first we thought it was an accident, right? This plane crashed into a building and everyone was, like, oh my gosh, such a tragedy. And then as the morning unfolded, more attacks started happening, or, what we now knew them to be attacks. And so it was like New York, and then we hear Washington, D.C., and then the thought was, where's this going to happen next?
Nobody knew what was going to happen, and people were panicking. It was just kind of a panic mode because we didn't know what was going to be hit next. We figured out it was a terrorist attack. We started hearing about the different attacks, and all of a sudden the towers collapsed, one of them. There were people in there, and I knew that. That's when you see the newscasters' faces, and they had no idea what was going on. And I remember all that day, that was all that was on. It was a scary time.
I remember being on base and or heading back into base, and the guard shacks changing and closing down, getting the barriers ready to Delta flag the threat level currently in the U.S. So they changed it to the highest level, basically. This happened on our territory, and I'm sure that there were signs that people just, shook off as nothing. And I think it's important.
It's part of history. It is history. It happened almost 20 years ago, and it shouldn't just be talked about on 9/11. It should be in the history books. It should be covered. The people that were affected, the people that died that day should be remembered every day.
There's still so many questions that are unanswered, at least to the public eye, that I think it would be a good project to have them research and look into it, and maybe encounter new questions or new answers, to different questions.
The day after 9/11 was the most patriotic day, I think everybody agrees, in America. Everybody stood together, everybody was for the country, for our well-being, for our protection. And as the time goes by, we get complacent, we lose focus on what we should be, and everybody wants to do their own thing. Everybody focus on themselves. Nobody wants to help each other out anymore. So I think we need to go back to the basics of being a strong, united country.
I think one of the biggest lessons that we got from 9/11 was unity as a country, and remembering that, at the end of the day, if somebody attacks us, if another country attacks us, like, we're all American. And I think that's more important now than ever. We're at a place in our country where we're so polarized, and we're looking more at our differences than our similarities. I think we need to focus more on those similarities and what makes us all American and, happy to be in this country.